Welcome back to You Fantasy Football. I, of course, am the fantasy blogger, and today we're looking at the season, 2 weeks in. I'm doing okay. All of my teams are 1-1. Uh, Not coincidentally, a lot of my teams uh, did really well in week 2 because I have Jay Cutler, Brandon Marshall, Tony Scheffler, and those guys on a lot of my teams. Uh, I did do horrible in week 1, however. So if you're 0-2 or 0-1, do not worry. Um, I'm going through a lot of the problems you are. I have Marquez Colston on a lot of my teams, who's out for 6 weeks. I have Randy Moss, who's missing Tom Brady. So you're not always lost. You can still get the ship right, no matter who you have. If you had Tom Brady, you can still get into the playoffs. It's going to be a lot harder now, but we can still do it. Okay, one thing I want to address first is the people that are saying that, um, you know, you shouldn't have drafted, Randy Moss or quarterback in the first round. That's stupid. Just because Tom Brady got injured, that doesn't mean you were right on your predictions. Your predictions had nothing to do with Tom Brady getting injured. So your predictions were that they wouldn't do as well this year because they did so well last year and they just can't keep it up. So there's nothing to that. Nothing was proven. All that was shown was that Tom Brady was injured and that Tom Brady and Randy Moss wouldn't be as good of picks when Tom Brady's injured. So that's um, that's just a bunch of trash. And we'll see next season. But as far as this season goes, nothing was shown either way. Um, Looking at it right now, on the waiver wire, I think there's a few guys you might want to look at. Is James Jones. He just came back for game 2. He wasn't there in game 1. He's on a lot of waiver wires. He's a good, solid third pick on the Green Bay Packers. And on that note, I was dead wrong about the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers looks fantastic. Ryan Grant right now is battling a hamstring problem, so he's not very effective. But I mean, the Green Bay Packers look even better than they were with Favre. Rodgers is a little more conservative, but he's also um, he's a lot more accurate than Brett Favre, and he takes a lot less risks. But it's more beneficial to him and the fantasy owners, as he's going to throw less interceptions and probably a few more touchdowns over the course of the year. So he looks great. The Packers receivers looks great. Um, I just missed that one. That was a plain miss. So good job for those of you who grabbed Aaron Rodgers late. You've got probably a top 5 quarterback all year. So that was awesome uh, for those owners. But like I said, James Jones, I think that offense. And I'm not saying he's a stellar wide receiver, but if you have room, grab him as the wide receiver 4. Or if you need him now, if you're like me and Colston's out, um, I went ahead and waived Robert Meacham. Was a hard waive, but I waived him because just because I'm not sure what he's going to do. And when Colston gets back, he's probably not going to be as good. But it was a risk, but I needed James Jones and Meacham. The week I started him, only had 1 catch for that touchdown, and that's just 2 little catches. He only had 2 targets, so that's a little too few targets for me. Okay, moving on. Ike Hilliard. Joey Galloway's injured right now. Ike Hilliard was doing good when Joey Galloway was there. He'll do good when he's not there. He'll do even better when he's not there. So I would also recommend Ike Hilliard. Michael Bush, if you can get him. Kind of sad to see Justin Fargas. I had him on a few teams. Kind of sad to see him go down, but Michael Bush looked great. The one thing that the Raiders can do is run the ball. So get Michael Bush if you can. I think he's going to do well filling in the gaps for Darren McFadden. Another guy I was wrong on was Donovan McNabb. Um, I don't really get Donovan McNabb sometimes, but it looks like the injury was the reason he sucked last year, and now he is back because he is throwing the ball great. Even with just rookie receiver Deshaun Jackson, he looks awesome. There's no way around it. Still, one detractor from McNabb is he's got a hard schedule, but the Eagles throw the ball so much that he probably overcomes that. He's gonna have a good fantasy year. He's top. He's probably top 7 at least. So far so good for McNabb. I would tell you it's just early season and he'll fade away, but he's looked so good. He's like Aaron Rodgers. He just looked in that elite category. Um, let's see who else. LaDainian Tomlinson starting really slow. This might be the year. Well, I mean, I think it's already going to become that year where he starts his decline. I think he'll pick it up once the season keeps going, but um, this year will be the start of his decline as he's really getting hampered by that toe injury. So we'll look for that. Look for that to continue to bother him. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it here. I'm not sure how much time I've taken up. This is the Fantasy Blogger.